Well, yes, you've been writing and publishing since 1979, and I think I counted nearly 50 book titles on your Wikipedia page. Do you have a running total of the number of books you've written and edited? And what fuels your prolific creativity?
Insecurity and obsession, I guess, fuels it. I don't know, at least 16 single-authored full-length books of poems and 6 books of fiction, and I think 11 chapbooks, and 6 anthologies, and 4 films. That's kind of the numbers I got with. But yeah, I'm obsessive about writing. And
so the poems in Gun Shy range across the spectrum timeline of life, exploring your childhood in Detroit, raising your young children in Pittsburgh, and your parents' aging and your own. Did you intend to write these poems as a collection, or were they written over time and collected later?
When I first started, the poems in Gun Shy were parts of 2 separate poetry manuscripts. I think in my mind, at least, one of the central themes of the book is negotiating the territory between, being a parent and continuing to be your parent's child while they're, at least in my case, they're needing more care. But in terms of the book, I was really feeling it big time because it was a stage in which our children were going out into the world on their own while our parents were coming closer and needing more help from us. My first book was published in 1985. And it's interesting, at least to me, that my first book was called Places and Everyone. And I had a slash between places and everyone. And all these years later, I've come back to the slash again with Gun Shy. So the title of the book is Gun/Shy. And in both cases, I wanted to create a sense of seeing these familiar expressions, Places Everyone and Gun Shy, in a new way, so that you see each word separately and there's a tension between them.
Your title poem, Gun Shy, is a long poem which has been set in the middle of the book. So that placement's very deliberate, as you mentioned. And that's like Pulp Fiction style. It starts with a scene where the speaker at 16 had a gun shoved in his face while working at the liquor store. It also incorporates memories of families on the street who shot each other during a Tim Daniels, who's no relation to you, including a Tim Daniels, and looks at race and white privilege, losing virginity, and watching the Limbo on the Windsor TV station. So what was behind this poem? What inspired you with this?
I had actually written about being held up in the store before, which is where the obsession idea comes into play, trying to get at, what that meant to me. So the first version of that poem, of that experience I wrote, was in my first book in 1985. And it's just called Hold Up. And the poem was about being haunted by that experience, but I didn't touch on what I think was a huge aspect of it, which was the racial aspect of it, because it was, again, when we talk about white privilege, it was kind of my privilege not to go into that in the poem, quite frankly. And so it took me a while to get there. One of the fortunate experiences I had in graduate school is I had a course that was taught by James Baldwin at Bowling Green State University. One of the things that Baldwin did to me and some of the other white students, I think, is to challenge us to examine our own past more honestly. I mean, I remember him very clearly in class saying, look, I'm the son of a slave and you're the son of a slave owner. Let's start there. And so he was kind of saying, well, in order to move forward, we have to go back.